Hello and welcome to Thought for the Day from St Peter's, Bexhill. I read this story to you last year, but I make no apologies for reading it again because it is one of my favourite stories ever. I first heard it when I was in Miss Pennell's class. I can only have been 5 or 6, and it has stayed with me ever since and really influenced my life and my attitude towards worship. See what you think. In this version it's called The Little Juggler. Up and down and round the yellow balls danced high into the sky. In the summer there had been cheering crowds and coins in the little juggler's cup, but now that winter had arrived no one wanted to stand outside and watch, and so the little juggler was cold and hungry and poor. Up and round he leaped and tumbled and rolled just to keep warm. And when he had no strength left even for that, he sat down in the village square and began to cry. "What is the matter, my child?" asked a kindly old monk. The little juggler dried his eyes. "I have no mother or father," he sniffled, "no money, no food, and no place to stay." The monk looked at the little juggler. He was just a boy, no more than 8 or 9. "I have an idea," said the monk. "Why don't you come to the abbey with me? It's a little draughty, I'll admit, but there is plenty to eat and drink. And besides, I've always thought that we could use a juggler around the place." And so the little juggler went with the monk to the abbey. He had food and drink and a place to stay, and best of all, he had an audience. Up and down and round, the little juggler danced and somersaulted and juggled for the monks. And just like the crowds in the market, they clapped and cheered and called for more. As Christmas drew closer, however, the monks seemed less interested in the little juggler's tricks. "We have much to do," the old monk explained. "Each of us would make a Christmas gift for the baby Jesus." Up and down and round, the little juggler wandered about the abbey, watching the monks. Some painted pictures, some composed songs, some wrote out scriptures in the most beautiful handwriting, and some carved wooden screens to place around the altar. "I wish I could make something beautiful," the little juggler thought, "something special for the baby." Christmas Eve arrived at last, and the monks paraded into the chapel where the statue of Mary and Jesus stood. They placed their gifts before her, and the little juggler watched with tears in his eyes, for he had nothing to bring. But as the monks paraded back out again, the little juggler had an idea. He lingered behind in the shadows, and when the monks had gone, he stood alone before the statue. "I have nothing beautiful to bring," he said, "but I can juggle, and so my juggling is what I give to you this Christmas Eve." Up and down and round, the little juggler leaped and rolled and tumbled before the statue. But what he did not know was that there was someone else watching as well. His friend, the kindly old monk. He had gone to the juggler's room to wish him a good night and had found the boy missing. The old monk didn't know what to do. He'd never heard of anyone juggling in a chapel. He didn't even know if it was right. But what he did know was that the boy's juggling and tumbling was better than he had ever seen it. And so he just stood there in the darkness and watched. And when the little juggler had finished, he collapsed exhausted on the floor of the chapel and fell fast asleep. The old monk stepped forward to pick up his little friend and carry him to his room. But before he could take a second step, he had the most amazing vision. He watched in wonder as up and down and round the chapel, the angels flew, filling the chapel with their songs. And while they sang, the Virgin Mary cradled the little juggler in her arms and thanked him for his Christmas gift. Then, as quickly as they had come, the Virgin Mary and the angels were gone. The old monk rushed into the chapel. "It's a miracle!" he cried. But soon the whole abbey was awakened by the news. "You brought the best gift of all," said the monk, the little juggler, "because you gave the very best you had." And so the little juggler juggled before the altar again, up and down and round, that day and the next, and every day for the rest of his long and happy life.